From October 1st to November 13th, 2027, the absolute pinnacle of international rugby takes over Australia. At stake is the Webb Ellis Cup, the ultimate prize in a game defined by extreme physical toll. This tournament marks a major expansion to 24 teams. 12 nations qualified automatically from the 2023 cycle, joined by 12 regional victors who fought their way through the qualification rounds. Looking closely at the pitch during these high-stakes clashes reveals a visual quirk unique to international rugby: the way these teams project their identity. Standard sports franchises often rely on manufactured identities and costumed characters to build hype, using corporate branding to connect with a crowd. The international rugby pitch operates on a different logic. Players walk out with the symbols of the Springbok, the Wallaby, or the silver fern stitched directly over their hearts. National rugby teams generally bypass the concept of a sideline mascot. Instead, their identities are tied to fierce endemic animals and ancient cultural heraldry. With 24 distinct nations arriving in Australia, the 2027 World Cup moves beyond the mechanics of a sports bracket to become a global collision of living national symbols. The host nation, Australia, roots its identity in the kangaroo and emu, but the national team competes as the Wallabies, named for the agile macropods native to the continent. The defending powerhouses from South Africa derive their entire team emblem and namesake from the Springbok, a resilient native antelope built for the endurance required on the African savanna. New Zealand's All Blacks project deep intimidation through the haka, yet they identify with the kiwi, a small flightless bird that serves as their national animal. In the Americas, fierce local birds define emerging rugby powers. Chile competes as Los Condores, channeling the massive scale and high-altitude dominance of the Andean condor. Uruguay takes a similar path with Los Teros, named after the southern lapwing. This bird is famous across the region for its fiercely territorial nature and aggressive defense of its ground. Argentina's famous Los Pumas nickname actually stems from a historical error. Their original crest depicted a native jaguar, but a journalist misidentified the cat during an early tour, and the puma name remained. For these nations, wearing an endemic animal projects the untamed natural environment of their homeland directly onto the rugby pitch. Across Europe, biological realism gives way to ancient mythology. Scotland leans on the unicorn, while Wales rallies their team behind the mythical red dragon. France's team, Les Bleus, carries the Gallic Rooster. This centuries-old emblem of the French nation projects stoicism and the awakening of a new day. Some teams break from official state animals. Spain's national animal is the bull, yet the rugby team chooses to compete as Los Leones, the lions. England offers a rare exception. While they use the Barbary lion and Tudor rose as symbols, they are one of the few national teams to deploy a franchise-style costumed mascot, Rugby the dog. European teams leverage these mythological and institutional symbols to intimidate through historical weight rather than raw wildlife. International rugby fully embraces traditional, manufactured mascots in one specific area, the overarching identity of the tournament itself. Host nations use these characters to project their culture, such as the Ren-Gei mascots for Japan 2019, lion-like creatures inspired by traditional Japanese theater. The 2027 Australian tournament identity moves away from characters, relying instead on the visual power of Indigenous Australian art and concepts of light and energy. This diagram shows the confirmed structure for the 2027 World Cup. The 24 qualified teams are organized into 6 pools, labeled A through F. Populating this structure with national crests maps out an ecological and cultural battle royale within the sporting bracket. Pool B creates a literal predator versus prey scenario, pitting South Africa's Springbok against Romania's apex predator, the Eurasian lynx. In Pool E, the heraldry of France's Gallic Rooster meets Japan's brave blossoms. The expansion to 24 teams introduces new cultural symbols to the world stage, such as Zimbabwe's elegant sable antelope. When these 24 teams step onto the pitch in Australia, they compete to establish the dominance of their nation's oldest symbols.